to Kanata Channel's podcast. If you're new to this channel, my name is Catherine and I'm one of the education consultants here at Kanata Education. And today it's going to be a different kind of topic or episode because this is the first time we're going to interview a VP of a college in Canada. So let's all welcome Mr. Banu of Conestoga College. He's the Vice President for International Business Development. Welcome.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for all the viewers to listening to us today.
Yes. So, okay, I'm not going. Usually, I ask representatives to tell me if their college is PGWP eligible and stuff like that. And we all know Conestoga College offers PGWP. Now, I wanted to ask you a different kind of questions that would we want to enlighten the audience because right now, currently, we join TikTok. And since I'm promoting Canada, as a study abroad destination, I'm getting a lot of hate because they're thinking with the current situation right now in Canada and all these changes to the policies, they think that it's not catering to the international students. And we all know with Conestoga, you guys are one of the institutions with a huge population of international students. So what can you say about all these negative comments?
First of all, negative doesn't exist in my dictionary. This is dust.
Yeah.
So you must have seen, like I'll take Philippines as an example. Every time I come here, there are certain times of the day or the week where you see some of the government employees from the municipality. They're cleaning the roads, and because of that, there's dust.
Mm-hmm.
Some people suffer with a little bit of allergy, and it's not a pretty scene. It's dusty. And that's exactly what is happening in Canada right now. It's a little bit of cleanup happening. I don't see it as a huge roadblock in overall Canada's progress or international students choosing to study in Canada. Social media, of course, is playing a role just to um, capitalize on that for people's own gain. Somebody wants likes, somebody's not representing Canada, so they see it as an opportunity to promote some other destinations. But what my request to school students and parents is, please revisit the thought of studying in Canada.
Yeah.
Has that changed in any way? Canada is still the same country, and our minister, Mr. Mark Miller, when he gave one of his speeches, he said that he still believes in the dream Canada.
Yeah.
And he's right in that. We have helped thousands of international students. I came as an international student to Canada 25 years ago, and I have seen tons of students graduating from various government colleges and universities in Canada and doing fabulously well, not just in Canada, but around the world, including their home countries.
Mm-hmm.
So even if people are hearing a little bit of negativity around Canada and international education sector, the institutions themselves have not changed.
Right.
The industry sector, in fact, has enhanced itself in the past decade and become more robust. And by that, they need more people.
Right.
We all are aware that Canada has a declining birth rate to a point where it is irreplaceable right now within the country. Canada needs international students. Canada needs international immigrants to come and call Canada home and contribute to the economy and, of course, to their own lives as well. So I would encourage people to meet people like Kanata and meet the professionals here to enlighten themselves more on facts about Canada. It is still a very, very strong country. It is a very welcoming country. I chose Canada after my research about the 5 top destinations which are still there around the world. And 25 years ago, I chose Canada. And then after studying there for a year or two, I myself decided to call Canada home.
Right.
And I was very fortunate that Canada accepted me,
Yeah.
accepted my application to be an immigrant and now a citizen of Canada. So, the dream is still there. It is amazingly strong country. It's with a growing economy. And anybody who's planning to study in Canada, I would highly encourage them to continue with their goals.
Yeah. Okay, so can we go back to what you mentioned that there is still a benefit of becoming an international student and Canada is still a dream. How do you think, like with all these changes, especially with the bringing of dependence and all that, define exactly what else is the benefits of being an international student in Canada, and how does Conestoga College play the role of supporting the students and fulfilling their dream?
Okay. So first thing about being an international student in Canada, what I experienced myself as an international student and now working in the industry for over 2 decades, what I experience is, and this is my favorite example to students and parents. I say, let's say for example, this is $1,000, and I put in front of them, and I said, "Can you go around the world with that?" And the answer is no, it's not possible. I said, "Come to Canada. The whole world is waiting for you." So Canada is the melting pot for the world.
Yeah.
It's a land of immigrants. It's a land of opportunities. It is a land where people are able to meet so many people from different backgrounds and different nationalities, and overall enhance themselves to become a better professional and a better human being if they choose to do so.
Yeah.
At Conestoga, we represented 102 countries,
Yeah.
which is a decent number, and all our international and domestic students have an opportunity to interact with those students and gain more value in their own lives.
Yeah.
I have a rule. I made this rule in 2000 that around 65 to 70% of my circle would be out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I was born in India, and when I came to Canada as an international student, I told myself that 70% of my circle would be outside South Asia. And I think that added a lot of value to my life.
Yeah.
And Canada is a prime example of giving that opportunity to tons of students
Yeah.
and immigrants coming to Canada. So there is this kind of an opportunity where people can actually take advantage of. The other thing which I tell students is that I think Canada is the only country in the world where, unless the international student themselves tell people that I am an international, everybody would assume that you are a Canadian, right? So that's again gives them this confidence of, if I may use the word, there's no discrimination.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody is given that equal kind of an opportunity. One thing which I've noticed in some countries, and I can say like South Asia, I was born there, that sometimes influence plays a very important role. Canada is a land of performance.
Right.
So if you are building yourself in a way where a potential employer, or if you want to start your own business, if that opportunity sees that you have that talent or skill to get the job done, there are tons of opportunities for students to be very, very successful. At Conestoga, we have 90% placement rate, employment rate. And as you mentioned, that Conestoga is one of the largest schools in Canada. Having 90% employment rate of that large number is a very big number.
Right.
To placing people in their respective jobs.
Okay, so we've been recruiting to Canada for 5 years now, and we know that there is a difference between the education system in Canada and in the Philippines. And you've mentioned that talent and skill is required to be able to secure the job that you want in Canada. Now, I understand that the school's role is to be able to cater to the job demands in the community, and so you are offering this programs that will equip the students with the right skills and all that knowledge. Now, I want to ask you, how should students change their perception towards getting a college diploma compared to getting a bachelor's degree?
So I think it will be slightly unfair just to compare college and universities because I have both the education, and I would not choose one over the other.
Yeah.
Both of them have played a very crucial role in my life.
Yeah.
So I am a university graduate. I did my master's degree, but then at the same time I did 2 college postgraduate diplomas. And both of the diplomas added tremendous value in my professional way of thinking and my professional careers. What I found in Canada different than rest of the world is that the community college concept, which is I don't think which exists anywhere. So if you say there are community college in the United States, they're totally different breeds of schools. In Canada, these community colleges work very, very, and I'll talk for all, if I may, for all the community colleges, at least in Ontario, not just Conestoga. We work very, very closely with the industry,
Right.
and we keep our communities in mind.
Yeah.
Any programs which are offered in a particular community college in Ontario, there is an industry which exists in, let's say, 50 to 100 kilometers radius. At Conestoga, for example, you will not find a mining program.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because can we offer that? Maybe we can, but we won't because we don't have industry there, right? So
Yeah.
Cambrian College, for example, in Sudbury, they have
Yeah,
a
they
mining
have, yeah.
program because the industry
Yeah.
exists
Yeah.
there.
True.
So this is what colleges do, and college education, according to me, is very hands-on, very practical, applied in nature, career-oriented, job-focused.
Yeah.
Because and this time I'll talk from Conestoga's perspective just because I work there and I know the process.
Yeah.
Over 35% of our new program development committee or our existing program maintenance team comprises of leaders from the industry.
Right.
These people tell us what's there in the future, in next 3 to 5 years, 7 years, whatever they have according to their research and development. And our academic teams at Conestoga, we either develop a new program or we modify an existing program to meet the future needs, making our graduates 90%
Right.
ready for a job. And I use 90% because that's our employment rate. But all our graduates are well equipped to find a job in the future job scenario. A lot of employers have seen that approach of Conestoga, and now they have become proactive.
Yeah.
So they would come to Conestoga and they would say that, you know what, we need people in this kind of or this kind of learning out with this kind of learning outcome or skill sets, and then we would add those things to our programs, making people ready. And one of the difference which I noticed as a student of a university and a college, university gave me a lot of knowledge. College taught me how it is applied.
Right.
So for me, it became a win-win situation because I came from the knowledge
Yeah.
base and now
Yeah.
I learned the application part of it. Students who are coming from Philippines, and I have met many of them. And jokingly, I was speaking to a student last year or a couple of years ago, and he and his parents had a similar dilemma. And they were talking about, oh, I need this particular credential or qualification, and you're talking about a postgraduate certificate. What will I gain or what's going to happen? So I said, why don't we just pause for a minute and look at the alumni from your university, which has the credential, what you are aiming to get,
Yeah.
and see the success rate, satisfaction rate, what are they doing in life. It might have taken him 5 minutes, and he was himself saying that, no, you are right.
Yeah.
I just sometimes, you got to embrace change.
Yeah.
And to embrace change, it's an internal process, and you have to have the right mindset. You have to have the confidence. Do your research till the time you have not signed anything,
Yeah.
right? And once you have signed, don't double guess yourself. Believe in that
Yeah.
decision that you have made, and move forward with confidence. Nothing is wrong, right? So even if you go to do a master's in a university or a bachelor's degree in a university, or you choose to do a diploma, advanced diploma, or a postgraduate certificate in a college, or a bachelor's degree in a college, no decision would be wrong in the end.
Yeah.
The only things which I think might not help somebody from coming from a foreign country like Philippines in this example is, say you choose a program like BA in English or BA in history, those kind of programs which do not have a very large immediate implication in the corporate world. You might have a longer time in finding an employment, but most programs in colleges are not like that.
Yeah.
They are very hands-on, they are job
Practical,
ready,
yeah.
practical, and what exactly the community is looking for. That hence the name community colleges.
True.
We work for the community.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned Conestoga being a community college and all that, and here in the Philippines, the connotation is when they say Canada, automatically it's for caregivers, for personal support workers. And I know Conestoga College, where it's located. Let's talk about the location in Kitchener. It's like the Silicon Valley of the U.S. Like Kitchener,
Canada.
yeah, in Canada. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us like what are the key industries in Kitchener?
So I wish I had my list because I did do industry scan. It's very, very vibrant. We have automotive, biotechnology, health, IT, logistic, food processing. So the economic sector of Kitchener Waterloo region is very, very dynamic.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, that Waterloo region is the technology triangle of Canada. It is the second largest Silicon Valley of the world after um, California. So this Waterloo Toronto corridor, that's the second largest. It is estimated that by the year 2030, Waterloo region would need over 52,000 technology professionals. Need, not want. Need.
Yeah.
They need it.
Yeah.
When I used this figures in front of people, immediate um, perception is what you just said. So you're IT,
You're
you're
IT,
technology.
yeah.
That's what you are. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, primarily you can say that. But unlike tourism,
Yeah.
technology is a permanent destination. So say for example, Baguio or some place here in Philippines known for tourism, you or your family would go there for a weekend, maximum for a week in 1 year, and then you come back home. So that's a temporary destination. What grows there is hospitality and tourism. Technology, on the other side, is a full-time permanent destination.
Yes.
So if we have Google Canada headquarters in Kitchener-Waterloo and 1,600 other technology companies in and around Conestoga College, these are permanent destinations. So if I say, let's forget about what exists there right now, if I just concentrate on 52,000 tech professionals needed in next 7 years, 6 years, they have needs. So they need healthcare, they need
Yeah.
business, they need
Yeah.
hospitality, they need recreation, they need all of those things. So yes, technology is something where Waterloo region prides itself on, but technology people
Yeah.
need
They
everything
True.
else.
So it's all
So
interconnected.
yes, so if I'm saying that there is a published report where it says that Kitchener Waterloo needs 52,000 tech professionals,
Yeah.
it also means that we need around 600,000 professionals in other fields
industries, yeah.
in Kitchener and Kitchener Waterloo region as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just one, it's everything. And then a reflection of that is in Conestoga's programming. So we offer over 300 career focused programs. Out of that, around 271 are open for international students, starting from 1 year certificate, 2 year diplomas, 3 year advanced diploma, 4 year bachelor's degree, and 1 to 2 year postgraduate programs in various fields, which we know after our research. This is what we know, that Kitchener, Waterloo, and surrounding communities,
Yeah.
they need people in that field.
Right. So, my next question is, what kind of support this Conestoga College has for these students to thrive in the community?
Okay. So there are so many, but the one thing which is standing out right now,
Yeah.
that Conestoga's president was the first president in Canada, arguably in North America, to say 2 years ago that our job center, which we call Talent Hub, will support our alumni throughout their lifetime.
Right.
So if somebody graduates from Conestoga today, 10 years from now, if they need help in finding job, updating their resume, preparing for interviews, etc., they can come to the college anytime, and the service would be free for them.
Available for them.
Somebody asked me, does Conestoga do pre-departure orientation? And I said, yes, but others do too. And they were like, yeah, when? How many? So they were like, before the intake, 3 times a year. I said, how about 45 times a year? And they were like, what do you mean? I said, our international transition coordinators every Wednesday
They
hold
like
1 to 1.5 hour
session.
webinar for our students, our agents, and students' parents around the world.
Wow.
And we discuss everything Kitchener, Waterloo, Conestoga, and most importantly, how to be successful as an international student in Canada.
That's amazing.
And one thing which I share with people with a lot of enthusiasm, pride, and peace
Uh-huh.
that I work for such an organization. 2009, I started working for Conestoga. And
Wow.
2009 September, I was about to leave for my first trip, and I ran into our president in the cafeteria. And our president asked me, "So what's happening in international? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Hey John, I'm leaving next week for my first trip
Sure.
for Conestoga. If there is one thing you will tell me to keep in mind when I take when I wave Conestoga's flag around the world, what would that
Yeah.
be?" Without taking any time, John said, "Student first."
Wow.
And our efforts, our enrollment, our international agent relationships and network kept on growing, and our numbers kept on growing, and we reached a certain number where we all were a little bit like, oh wow,
Yeah.
right, we had never thought of this and we have this now. John called me
Mhm.
and he was like, this was never in the plans, we never discussed this, and this is good to see, but like, how, what happened? I reminded him of that conversation. I said, John, you said student first at the international office in Conestoga College. We all strongly believe in that.
Yeah.
And when we are onboarding our agents and on our constant agent training, underlining message
Yeah.
is student first. I don't want the volume from you. I always want to help the right student who you think,
Mhm.
because you are in more contact with the students, who you think that being at Conestoga,
Mhm.
living in Kitchener Waterloo, that region, would benefit the student the most.
Right.
And it had a ripple effect.
Uh-huh.
And one became 10, 10 became 100, 100 became
Yeah.
1,000, 1,000 became
See, this is when
20,000.
you don't focus on the results.
Exactly.
You just focus on the process
Yes.
and embodying that vision, your commitment.
Absolutely, right? And connecting life and learning is Conestoga's punchline, and I think this school really believes in
Yeah.
it, and you can see it right from the president to all levels
Yeah.
of people working at Conestoga, that they are very focused on
Yeah.
that mission of connecting
True.
life and learning. And you were talking about um, sometimes it's better not to focus on the result and the process and everything. I agree with that, but I would just like to add that we were focused on the end result.
Yeah.
And the end result for us was not the numbers. End results for us was connecting life and learning and helping these kids become successful.
Successfully.
What happened with us was that these kids were talking back home.
Yeah.
They were talking to their neighbors, their friends, their relatives,
Yeah.
and they were sharing the fruits of success with them.
True. Yeah.
And they started choosing Conestoga
And
as
that's the most powerful type of
most
marketing.
powerful. Yeah, it just worked out very well
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
If you talk about from a business side, but
Yeah.
that was never the intention. The intention
Yeah.
was to provide what we have in the
Right.
best possible manner to students who chose us, and
Yeah.
give them the service, give them the guidelines, give them make them understand how to be successful
True.
in that setting. And it goes for both domestic and international students.
Yeah, that's a very good message because these students, they worry about their future.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that they made the right decision, and they want to make sure that I'm attending the right school.
Mhm.
This school should be able to help me set up for my success here
Yes.
in Canada. I left my family, I left everything behind, and I'm starting a new life.
Yeah.
So it's very anxious. They are very anxious. They don't know what's in it for them.
Mhm.
And so for them to hear this type of message and to hear this type of vision from a college, it's empowering. They give them some sense of confidence.
Every school has the intention for the students to be successful.
Yeah,
It's very, very important to students to be proactive.
true. I agree.
You did not leave everything behind to live the same life, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, just to feel that somebody would come and help you.
Yeah.
Be proactive.
They have to
go
be
out.
accountable.
They have to be accountable, 100%, 100%. And I was just in Kenya a few weeks ago, and one of the parent whose child is coming to study at Conestoga, and he said to me, he was like, "I really like your story. I really like the way you're talking. My child is sitting next to me. Can you tell her something which she should keep in mind for at least next 4 to 5 years?"
Yeah.
I asked the student what phone she uses. She said Apple. I said, "Do you have Apple Notes?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Write down 3 words: purpose, focus, consistency.
Mm-hmm.
These are the only three things I practice every day.
Every day.
Every day I'm purposeful,
Yeah.
I'm focused on that, and I'm consistent in my approach. Showing up.
Every day.
And let's just consider, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, this is who I am.
Yeah.
So I know about myself, I know my purpose, I'm focused in that, and there's a constant and a consistent approach to making sure that that happens. I said, just keep in mind that. So she wrote it down, and she herself was like, wow, these are good words. And I said, there's one more story I want to tell you. I said, I've helped a lot of students, international students, and one thing which I found, they lost their best friend in the process who helped them come abroad. And she was like, who's that? I'm like, themselves. I said, when I wanted to study in Canada,
Yeah.
as an international student, I was in India. First, I convinced myself why this is the best decision for my life.
Yeah.
Then I did a test run of my prototype with my friends.
Okay.
And I got their approval. I went home. I did another test run with my mom. Right? Everything went fine. Now I was in front of my final audience, my dad, the financer. And then I was able to convince him. My dad did not know anything about Canada or the program I'm choosing, Canada's policies or whatever. He was just going by what I was selling him at that time.
Yeah.
And I hate this word selling, but I'm going to use it right now. Whatever I was selling my dad, he was buying it. And he bought it.
Yeah.
When you go to Canada or any destination you choose, you forget that guy. You start falling for social media. You start falling for people who are around you.
Right.
And you get everything covered
True.
in front of your eyes. And now you start feeling depressed, or I made a wrong decisions, and sometimes you take a wrong path, and things started falling apart. I tell international students, especially during orientation at Conestoga, please reacquaint yourself for the best salesman you have ever met, and that person is you, who convinced you first that coming to Canada, choosing this program, choosing this college, living in this region is the best thing ever that can happen to you for the rest of your life.
True. So you should not forget your why.
You should not forget your why.
Why are you here?
100%.
Because if you have a stronger why,
yes, how follows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm down to my last question, and this is a very good session, and I hope our viewers and our potential students can learn a thing or two from this episode. And so I want to ask you this, because you are an international student yourself. I want to ask you, what is the biggest challenge you've encountered and you think they might encounter, and what is your advice to them how to overcome this challenge?
So mindset is the biggest challenge, right? Because everyone comes from different kind of cultural background. So understanding the mindset, that's the biggest challenge, I would say, in order to fit in.
Yeah.
Because fitting in is everything right now for people to start their journeys. And the second one is the finance.
Right.
What a lot of students I've seen, they do, anything they are doing, they convert it into pesos, which becomes a problem. Right? So if they're buying a coffee, they multiply with 42, and they're like, oh my God,
it's very expensive.
That's very expensive. I don't think I should drink it. Maybe it's a good decision, buy coffee at home and make it before you go out and save some money. That's good. But when they start working part-time, in Ontario, let's say the minimum wage is $15 an hour. When they get their first paycheck for working for 20 hours a week, they get a paycheck of, let's say, $300. They multiply that 300 with 42 pesos.
Yeah.
And suddenly they are like, oh my God, that's a lot of money, right? And that starts encouraging them to work more.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm talking to international students, I say, now imagine multiplying $100,000 with pesos.
Yeah.
And suddenly $15 does not have any value.
It's true.
Right? And now they are like, okay, how? And I'm like, this is the school, these are the programs, this is the professor. Connect with your professor, because your professor is very well connected to the industry.
Yes.
Even if they are not able to connect you with somebody for any reason, at least they know what the industry is expecting,
Yeah.
so that you can prepare yourself better.
Mm-hmm.
So the mindset, networking,
Yeah.
and looking at finance the right way, the fair way.
Mm.
That I think is very, very important for international students, for at least for first semester,
Mm.
to keep in mind. And if I have to rate them, I would say mindset and networking would be prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because as students, when they come to Canada, they're inst- instinctively they are on survival mode. Like
Which
just
they should not.
yeah, exactly.
Which
This
they
is the
should
thing.
not, right? I mean, when I went as an international student, there was no part-time job.
Yeah.
No matter what was the length of your program, you could only work for 1 year. I never thought about money.
Yeah.
And what helped me was that 24 hours which it took for me to fly from India to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally alone. Cell phones and all those things never existed. Wi-Fi was not a thing. So it's just you and you,
Yeah.
right? So I spent a lot of time in the plane, at the airport, in the plane again, with myself,
Mm.
and there was a good amount of self-talk
Yeah.
during that time, which I was able to do, and I made money a very small thing.
Mm.
I made my personal growth, my professional growth,
Your
the
priority.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
This is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Money would follow me.
True.
Those kind of things I was telling myself,
Yeah.
and till date, those became my principles
True.
of moving forward. So money just follows. You concentrate on the bigger things which matter the most. A few minutes ago, you and I were having a conversation, and I said anything that can be reproduced is cheap.
Yeah.
Right, so you can reproduce money. So if I lose money here today, I can
Yeah.
work hard tomorrow
Yeah.
and make money again.
Yeah.
Time is something you cannot.
can.
Certain relationships you cannot. So if the concentration is on something which you cannot reproduce, has the greatest fruits of
Yeah.
satisfaction,
non-tangible
success, and
ones.
exactly, exactly.
Right.
So that's what I would say.
Wow. So it's a very powerful message to you guys, and let us invite them to please apply, because this is actually the key part of this episode, is to invite our audience to continue pursuing
Their
their
goals.
education and
Yeah.
their goals.
Yeah.
And in order to achieve those goals, it's through the proper education and with the right college and
Yeah.
with the right community, they will be able to thrive. So why don't you do the honor of inviting them?
Please, I would invite you to come in and meet the professionals at Kanata. They are in Makati, in the Manila, Philippines. What my experience with them so far, not because I'm sitting with them right now, is what I have seen is they don't charge students, so which shows their confidence in their entire process, and their main goal is to help student to be on the path of success. What I've also noticed, the students who are studying through them at Conestoga, their counselors are in constant touch to make sure that if the student need anything, and sometimes for cultural reasons, a Filipino student, if they're feeling a little shy, um, the counselors here at Kanata, they take the initiative and connect with Tony, who is our manager here in Philippines, or myself, so that I could go and personally meet the student and direct them in the right direction for whatever help they need. Having said that, I would also warn students to be very, very careful of agents who are going for short gains. We have seen this not just in Philippines, around the world. There are agents who are in for their own commission or their own processing fees, their own money, and they would say yes to anything the student is asking for, or put them in a path which might look very rosy and good to begin with, but in the end, it's not leading them anywhere. So be very, very careful of that. Go and meet not just one but couple of agents at least. Do your homework, and find the right person who you think would be able to help you, not just getting a letter of acceptance or applying for your visa, but stands with you till the time that journey is done. And by that I mean graduating from the school you're going in, finding a job, maybe getting an immigration. Sometimes you don't need them to process everything for you, but if you have this confidence in mind that somebody is there with me to guide me in the right direction, they are professionals. Even if they don't have the answer, they can provide me with the resources to find an answer. That's enough. And as Catherine had mentioned, that be proactive and be accountable. Keep that in mind, and with that help being given from professionals like Kanata, sky is the limit, guys. Canada is still land of opportunities.
Yeah.
And I welcome you to Canada. Please come. But if you choose to study in some other destination, I hope that some of the pointers which we discussed today would be of help to you. God bless and thank you.
Thank you so much, Benny, for your time and for visiting our office. And if you guys want to learn more about Conestoga College, I will be putting our email addresses below, and you can always book a free consultation with us, and our consultants will guide you to the right program and to the right choice of school and community in Canada. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.